All right, guys. What is up? I want to apologize ahead of time here. I want to apologize ahead of time. My brain hurts. So, yeah, I got pretty well lit up today on my brain. Had radiation. So, what happens now in phase three? Down here, like I showed you in previous videos, radiation phases, I believe it's called, is that what will happen is it will be total microteslas you'll see on your detector, if it's proper, is going to be about 70 microteslas because background is 50. So you're going to see it's at the top end of phase three of the concentrated microtesla radiation. So like I said, it's about 50, roughly 45 to 50 on the detector. And then I caught it. I don't even try to record it anymore. It's pointless. You don't need to. Your burnt red eyes, your bloodshot eyes will tell the tale. So it's at the top end of phase three radiation. And if you're not familiar with the phases of radiation that will walk you to your death, then please get familiar with it. I go over it in a video. I'll probably make another video at some point directly just talking about radiation phases. This is exactly how it goes. Phase one, 100 to 500 microteslas concentrated for a long period of time. That is the majority of your radiation to lay the foundation for your future medical problems, whether it's weakening of your bone, whether it's deteriorating of your musculoskeletal tissue, or whether it is maligning your cells to give you cancer. The majority is going to be in this phase one, 100 to 500 microteslas. And that's going to be indicated by sweating, profuse sweating, blurred vision, pain. And then phase two is 1,000 to 1,500 microteslas. And for some reason, that was only there for a little bit of time. That has been the shortest amount of a phase, the shortest time period for a phase out of all three of them thus far. And that was 1,000 to 1,500. And it was overall, so that was spread out over a large swath of the anatomy. So then phase three is 5 to 20 microteslas above background. So your background radiation level and plus. So the 5 to 20 is going to be the damaging energy that's in addition to sent by the computer system. So the reason for 5 to 20 is because it doesn't want to give overt signs and symptoms. So that way, the radiation subject, is less likely to pull out a detector, is less likely to have burnt red eyes, sore skin, until the energy has been on the subject's anatomy for a long duration of time. And then if it's been on there for a long period of time, you forget to pull out your detector, the computer will then tell you to your subconscious level, pull out your detector, look at your detector. And then simultaneously, a lot of the times, if it's been there for a long period of time, you're going to have sore anatomy. So for me, my brain, intracranial and extracranial, I mean, inside and outside my skull is very sore. So my brain tissue is even sore. And that always relates to an extended duration energy attack of a low level here, because it's not severe enough that, I should have known earlier when my vision was blurred at Costco when I was working. Typically, you'll get blurred vision if it's up here in the brain. But for me, it's my neck, it's my thyroid, it's my lymph nodes in my neck, it's behind my ear here at the jaw level, it's my brain, it's my crotch area, it is also my backside, unfortunately. It's my butt too. I mean, they're all common places. This is not something new. These are all common ass places for people to be irradiated, because what's going to happen is, and then I'll get to this here in a second. This is just going to be a generally good video to listen to. So what happens is you put it in the head, you put it here. I'm going to draw a little dude here. You put it in all these different places around the anatomy. And then like my neighbor Marv in the back here, you'll have it in between in between your vertebrae, because you get irradiated in the intravertebral space. Because where is the best spot to put a cancerous tumor if you're not going to put it in the brain? Right up next to the spinal cord, in between the vertebral bodies. So intravertebral, inside there, in between the vertebrae of the spine. My ex-girlfriend's grandmother died of a spinal tumor, which the hospital missed. Marv up here, my longtime family friend's husband, he passed away of all over cancer. And the reason why he got the cancer and his wife didn't, his wife Tony, is because Marv had cancer 30 plus years ago. So the computer system went, and that's my noise for the computer doing calculations, calculated and said, well, he's more plausible. Not that plausibility matters because everybody can get cancer. The plausibility to cancer is that anybody can get it, so it doesn't matter who gets it. But Marv had cancer 30 plus years ago, so it was like, oh, wow, we'll just give Marv the cancer. So the computer irradiated his ass and dusted him off. And he literally died of all over cancer. They found it. Obviously, they battled it for like a year, and then it spread to his spine, and it was in his spine, and then blah, blah, blah. He wanted to go home and die, so he went home and died. All right. So now that I apologized for my brain hurting on this side, it's one side, then it's the other, it's one side, then it's the other, it's one side, then it's the other, and the computer can split your brain into hemispheres. I have a video that I showed in a previous video of my brain being split down the middle. The craziest shit you ever wanted to see. I'm going to make a YouTube short of it. The craziest shit you ever wanted to see. I'll tell you that, boy. Holy fuck. My brain, you can see half of my head is on fire in the middle of Costco at work, and the other half is green. One half is red, the other half is green. And that really gave me the idea of how specific this system is when it comes to targeting our anatomy. It is literally to the cellular level. They can draw a line in your anatomy to split your cranium and your brain into hemispheres, one side, left and right. It's utterly insane how we're being put to death. All right. Well, I hope you're not being put to death, but for me, that's what it is. It's called walking to death for a reason. All right, guys. So this is going to be the opening part of this video is going to be about the chatbot and how the chatbot gathers information on you and how that's used from that point into the future. So the way the system works, I'm going to put this garage door down real quick just to keep out some of the background noise. So the way the system works here is when the chatbot is chatting with you, there's a thing called Mad Libs. When I was a kid, we had it's a little notepad of paper that goes something like this. So it'll have a spot for a noun, a verb, an adjective, all the stuff that makes up sentences, except for it's going to ask you to fill in the blank. It's going to say, John was walking down, no, it's going to say blank was blank down the blank. And then you have to put in John was walking. It's going to say noun for the first thing, a person, a place, or a thing. You could say dog. You could say lady. You can be descriptive and say, Sue with a name. And a lot of these are shot into my head just now with the computer. I pause and it fills it in. So it goes both ways. So when the computer is trying to gather information on you to find out percentages and probabilities, so probability and statistics, this, if you're not familiar, is the math. Some of the math involved, that orange square there, is probability and statistics, dynamical systems mathematics, and just the idea of infinitesimals. So it's going to leave those blanks there. So you have to do a verb, which is an action word. Blank is blank down the blank. So that is the essence of Mad Libs, is that you just fill it in and it may be something funny. In our case, when we're doing it out here in the real world, we're trying to be funny, trying to get people to laugh, trying to be silly. In the computer world, the computer is just trying to gather information on you. When it's doing it to you, it's going to go say he or she, have a nondescript describer. So I'm going to erase this real quick. We know it's chatbot Mad Libs we're talking about. So it'll use nondescript describers also. What that means is he, she, we, them, us, they, you, I. So if you get the drift with that, whenever in your head it goes, she is looking at you, they are looking at you, or anything, when it uses these nondescript describers, you fill in the blank by attributing he, because there's going to be a he around you, or you're going to go, oh, I know who, him, and you think of somebody right away. You think of the noun, the person, the place, the thing. He is looking at you, and there is nobody looking at you. It's just something to get your attention, so it controls you. It's just a control mechanism. So then you fill in the blank with who is he. Then you're attributing probability and statistics to he now. So that's how it gathers information on you. So what it'll do is it'll leave a blank and it'll let you fill in the Mad Lib. And the more you fill in the Mad Lib over and over repetitively, you reiterate your filling in of the Mad Lib, the computer saves that and keeps that as a calculation, a calculable probability. So it knows probably, possibly, and it has all of that stored. So that way the computer knows how to manipulate you even better, knows when to say who, where to say what, and all of that stuff. And that's how sophisticated this system is. It knows all of that stuff. So it does that in the beginning. Leaves it up to you to fill in the blank of what does what when and who does what when. And it remembers that, so that way it knows that it can say somebody's name, it can say a place. When you're at a place, it can do something that'll have the highest percentage of probability of having you be controlled or having the outcome desired by the computer system. So all of these nondescript describers don't mean anything. And the bottom line to the chatbot is that anything said in your head doesn't mean anything. I mean, I don't even know how to write this. The bot does not mean anything. It is in your head. It's not in reality. Whatever it's saying in your head has nothing to do with reality. Nothing. So anybody that's sitting there going, oh, I know who's doing this to me, it's my neighbors. I've heard so much dumb shit about this chatterbot that they think, oh, it sounds like my neighbor. I know who it is. It's Tybro. There's some chick on the internet. Thank you for that one. The computer's always plopping shit into my head. Always. I'm standing here, it keeps dropping shit into my head. There's a chick on the internet that believes there's some sort of cult that she was in or something called Tybro, Tybro. And she thinks Tybro is virtually, electronically, sexually assaulting her, the lady from Tybro. And it's like, no, bitch, there is no Tybro on this thing. That's just what the computer knows, manipulates your brain. You had that in your background. You had that in your neural monitoring history. And the computer knows that it could capitalize on a neurological event like that, where you were in a cult, quote unquote, and that you separated yourself from the cult, whether with the computer's help or not. The computer could have got you into the cult, and the computer could convince you to get out of the cult. You are 100% controlled by the system until you are unplugged and overtly targeted, like myself and other people. So once she got out of the cult, the computer went, oh shit. Whether it was targeting her at that point or not, when it did start to target her, it knew that that was a huge thing that it could use against her to control her mind into thinking that Tybro, the cult people, are the ones doing this to me because I left the cult. I didn't want anything to do with the cult. I did this against the cult, and it's not. It's not your neighbors. It's not Tybro. It's not anybody out there. It is an automated system that may have a few people overseeing the system, but there is nobody gang stalking you. There's nobody out there that is following you around with cell phones, with anything. Anybody that does anything to you out there is only doing it to you out there because they are linked into the system as well. And they're the only catalyst and conduit on this plane, not the computer world. The computer world has to utilize other human beings through their neurology out there, street theater, has to utilize them in order to affect you. There's no other way to affect you besides your neurology, your anatomy, moving you, walking you, controlling you directly through your brain or through physicality, or utilizing the only other movable and speakable mechanism available besides maybe dogs and cats, if they have the Dr. Dolittle program, is another human. So every other human out there is a potential computer conduit. So the computer shoots into their head like it was shooting into your head and my head, instructions, messages, and they just go ahead and say it and do it. So that is street theater, in other words. Whether somebody's going to have a positive or negative interaction with you, computer can emotionally manipulate them to positive or negative. And if it doesn't do anything, then there's indifference, and it's the human's own mind that is interacting with you, and that's called normal life. If you are a normal human, they're a normal human, and you have normal interactions. Other than that, you may have a computer system that's in that person's neurology, manipulating them emotionally, physically, and otherwise. So, but all of these you hear in your head, there's nobody. Nobody's attached to that. It's just you spinning in a circle going, who's he? Who's we? Who's I? Who's they? Who's she? And it just says she. And you attach the noun to it. You attach all of these descriptive words to nondescript describing words, they're called. So if you ever hear this through the chat bot in your head, despite the bot doesn't mean anything, whatever it's saying in your head doesn't mean jack shit. And if you hear this especially, it doesn't mean anything. It's waiting for you to apply who he or she or whatever means to you, given your environment and who may or may not be around you. It's easy. And again, that's how the system gathers information. It is consistently gathering information through your neurology, through your environmental interactions, and then it will save that to utilize that on you and with you from that point into the future, because that's all good information that it can use to manipulate you and control you in the future. When it goes, instead of he, it'll say somebody, because you reiterated that person, that he, so many times that it knows that that person is on your mind a lot and applicable to a lot of circumstances in your life and in your neural monitoring history. So that's just one example. But one of the ways the chatbot works is through utilization of Mad Libs. Utilizing Mad Libs with blanks in them gathers information for the computer system for probability and statistics to utilize and retain for your profile from that point into the future. Every single thing you do, awake or asleep, is in your brain, and the computer has it recorded and utilizes it for the simulation that you live in. All right. Now that that's done, like I said, this is just going to be a general video where there's going to be just generally good information. I'm just going to put general good information video, and I'm going to think. There may be points in this video where I pause for a second, I think, take a drink of my fluids here, my lemonade, and I just stand here and I try to think. Because all day I come up with good videos and good ideas to do for you guys. And I just hope that you guys get it. Hope that you guys understand. I really do, because I'm not going to be alive forever. But what I want to do while I'm here and while I'm quasi okay is make these videos for you guys. I just hope that if you ever have any questions, feel free to ask me. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I guess that's a good idea. Computer came up with a good idea right there. We can talk about how do we know, or how do I know that it's every single human out there? So I got to that a little bit in one of my last videos. All right, I'm going to do this and I'm going to cut this short because I want to start making shorter videos. All right, so how do we know it's every human out there? How do I know? I'm going to tell you. Besides the fact the computer makes everybody sneeze over and over and over and over again. So if it's making them sneeze, obviously it's inside of them. All right, so how do I know it's every human on this system? How do I know it's everybody? Number one, let me go back real quick because I get pissed. Just because everybody is on this system and is available to be utilized, tortured, targeted, controlled, and all that stuff, does not mean that they are. Okay? Doesn't mean that. That doesn't mean because your neighbors have a profile on the system in the simulation that they're on the system and they're doing this to you. I'm so sick to death of hearing this shit from people that can't figure it out. That the people around you have nothing to do with your issues, with your targeting, with your control mechanisms. Nothing. The only reason that you have that in your head that it's your neighbors is because that is the greatest thing to do to a target, is to tell them in their head, oh, your neighbors are on here. Oh, your neighbors on this thing doing this to you. They have this thing. Again, the nondescript describers, that happen to me. They have this thing. They're on this thing. They are around you. They're doing this to you. Your neighbor across the street is doing this to you. That's the greatest thing to do, because then what happens is, here's you, right? Here's you. Here's your neighbors. Oh, we'll do purple. Here's you at your house, and here's your neighbors. Neighbor, 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 neighbor. Okay? So there's you, and you're in a neighborhood, so you have a lot of houses around you. You may have a lot of apartments, depending where you live. Who knows what kind of whatever you have around you. But unless you live in the woods by yourself and you have a long driveway, you still have people around you. So when the computer goes and says, oh, these people are doing this to you, all your neighbors here, just X this off. The X's are all against you, the O. They're on this thing. They're zapping you. They're targeting you. So what happens when you start to believe that and you start to think that these people have some sort of control mechanism, some sort of neural cap, some sort of whatever, they're telepathizing with you, they're sleep depriving you, they're zapping your nuts or whatever, then what happens? You alienate yourself, because when you start thinking this person that all lives around you here, oh, God damn it, I need another color. Let's do the pink here. Then these people will start to see your odd behaviors because they don't even know what you're talking about. The only way that they're going to have anything to do with anything is if the computer uses them as a conduit for its street theater. So street theater is the only thing that these people are going to do. They don't have any cell phones. They're not gang stalking you. There is no gang stalking. There's no gang of people specifically sent to stalk you, harass you, and give you problems. That's all related to computer-generated street theater, which is just directions being sent to the subject's neurology, which they're all on this. I'm going to tell you in a second how I know every single human is on this thing. That's sent to their neurology. So it's just computer-generated street theater that maybe the interactions. Oh, my neighbor's out there with the leaf blower again, the common shit. Go mowing the grass early in the morning. Got the car alarm beeping off. That's because the computer has their neurology and told them to do that. So it looks like simultaneously while you're being sent to your head, oh, your neighbors are doing this to you. Your neighbors reiterated over and over and over again that the computer has them manifesting behaviors that would have you assume and believe that my neighbors are on this thing. They're doing this to me. They're not. So then what this does, with or without street theater, is you start going, looking out windows and creeping around, and you barely come out of the house and you're acting weird. You won't say hi to them. You don't talk to them. You just go like this if they're there, and you quickly go the other way. And you're manifesting behaviors that is going to make them organically start to talk to each other. And that's even if you did or didn't get arrested by the police or have the ambulance here, because phase 1 targeting, you'll have the ambulance at your house because you'll call the ambulance on yourself because you got to get a mental health diagnosis or 2 or 3. You got to attempt suicide, all that kind of stuff, because it follows you. That's all in the other videos. So that follows you. So then they'll start to notice that and they'll go, that's weird. What's going on over there? This neighbor will start to talk to this neighbor over here, and they'll go, oh, because they're more friends with that neighbor than this one, but that one's friends with this one too. So then they'll tell them, they'll go, yeah, did you see? Nick got picked up by the ambulance again. Wonder what's going on over there. And then they have that going on simultaneously while in your head, you're going, oh, they're on this thing. And then simultaneously with you not interacting with them at all, if you did at all to begin with, but if you don't say nothing to them, they're going to go, it's weird. He's acting weird. If you even go outside, oh, he's not coming outside. How come Nick hasn't, I'm just using my name. How come Nick hasn't been outside? Then they start talking to each other. So this neighbor's friends with this one, so they talk to each other. This neighbor doesn't know that one really well, but this one knows this one. So she talks to them. He talks to this one. Oh, I'm friends with this one over here. And you see how it is. You aren't talking to anybody, but they're all talking to each other around you. And that has nothing to do with a cell phone. That has nothing to do with a computer program, nothing to do with neural caps. And what did the computer just accomplish by telling you in your goddamn head, oh, your neighbors are doing this to you. Your neighbors are doing this to you. It completely alienated you from the neighborhood. It completely alienated you from the neighborhood. So it's you here, and you're circling yourself out of any of this out here. And now you're the center of attention in the neighborhood, with the ambulance coming to pick you up because they're physically harming you with directed energy in phase 1 of your targeting, which is desocialize, isolate, mental health care. So they desocialize you, they isolate you. Number 1, they desocialize you from the general populace. They isolate you inside of your place of residence, your house, your car, your tent, wherever. And then they mental health care you by either having you attempt suicide, by physically harming you, burning you, sleep depriving you until you call the ambulance on yourself because you're ready to kill yourself. You're on the edge of suicide, and the only way to get out of it is to call the ambulance on yourself, go to the hospital, and then that's where the computer needed you, not wanted you. It needed you at a psychiatrist or psychologist's office or hospital, because that's the only place you can get a diagnosis of mental health care disorder or a suicide attempt. Suicide attempt, the ambulance will just come pick you up, take you to the hospital, and they'll do whatever. So it needs one to question mark mental health diagnoses. So let's put that over here. DX. So it needs one to question mark mental health diagnoses, because that follows you today into the future. It goes along with you. So anybody looks up your history, you're going to see 302s, involuntary commitments, suicide attempts, and it's going to fuck up anything that you may have going on in the future when it lets you back out to phase 2, overt simulation life. Lets you go back to a quasi-normal life where you have a job, you have bills, and then you're running in that circle and cycle of go to work, pay the bills, go to work, pay the bills, until you die from your radiation phases. Or you have a major physical breakdown at minimum, which is an inconvenience, whether you die directly from it or associated to it. You're still going to die because of the computer's radiation and manipulation and implementation into your life. Its intercession into your life is going to be a primary factor in your early death. All right, so this right here, how do I know every human is on the system? I'm going to get to that right now. So when the chatbot is in your head going, your neighbor did that to you, and they're mimicking or utilizing a fake version of your neighbor's voice. If you know your neighbor's voice, I heard one person say, I know my neighbor's been doing this to me. I've heard so-and-so's voice for 9 years now. And I'm thinking to myself, are you fucking nuts? You are literally nuts. You heard a voice in your head that a computer system shot into your fucking head that sounds like your neighbor's voice. And that's what gives you the idea that it's your neighbor doing it to you. I mean, I don't know what to say to that. Like, at a certain point, you should probably just eat a bullet, unfortunately, because if you still believe after 9 or 10 or 15 years that your neighbor who's living their own life on their own, raising their own kids, doing their own thing, is on a computer system or a cell phone with a neural cap or not for 9+ years, watching you, paying attention to you, you're nuts. You are nuts. So think about that. And while I erase this, again, your neighbors have nothing to do with it. That's just a basic tactic and protocol in the beginning to get you to isolate yourself from the people around you and cordon yourself off to your house. And even then, it gets you to be suspicious of the people in your house. My brother, who's also targeted, was telling my mom, I don't know if I can trust you. I don't know if I can trust you. And that's our mom. So what does that tell you? The system works. So let me erase this real quick, and I'm going to show you how I know it's every single human. So I got to this in my last video, that 8-minute section. If you look down, you'll see part 2 of the last video. I forget what I called it. But, be aware of large purchases, part 2. My grandfather was targeted. So again, your neighbors aren't on this thing. They're not targeting you. You're not in jeopardy of them burning you. It has nothing to do with them. Computer-generated street theater utilizing your neighbors potentially as a conduit for the computer system's functionality is the only thing that's going on with your neighbors, potentially. So don't hold that like, oh, it's definitely my neighbor's a computer program. It's only the potential that they can be utilized as the computer system's functionality. All right. So my grandfather now. Let's go with Donato is his name. Grandpop. So my grandfather's name is Donato. I'm going to look at my phone here real quick. And he was born in Italy. We use green for Italy. Where are we at here? Let's get the green. Hey, green. There we go. Get some fresh green up here. I bought some new markers. So he was born in Italy and on December 3rd, 1919. So December the 3rd, 1919, my grandfather Donato was born in Italy. Irrelevant where he was born, I'm not going to get into that, it's a waste of minutes. But shows you, 1919. There may have been radio then, maybe, I'm not sure when Guillermo Marconi did the radio. I think his name was Guillermo Marconi. I think it was Marconi. But radio would be the first wireless, thing going on with radios, receivers, and, sending music and stuff. But he was born in 1919 in Italy. He immigrated over here with my great-grandfather sometime in the late 20s. Yeah, I'm going to say 1920s to 30s. So he immigrated over here as a younger kid in the 1920s or 30s. And so he was born in a completely different country, completely different time period in the early part of the 1900s. None of this stuff existed. Wireless energy, neural monitoring, none of it. He wasn't even in this goddamn country. So then fast forward, he volunteers for World War II. He fights the Japanese. He comes here, settles in West Pottsgrove Township, Pennsylvania, Stowe, Pennsylvania, right outside of Pottstown, Pennsylvania, 30 miles northwest of Philadelphia. And he lives here his entire life, besides a little bit in Ardmore, Pennsylvania. And put these down here. Then he becomes a target of remote neural monitoring and the program we know as targeted individual program, or Havana syndrome. Let me get another color here. Fuck. Let's see if this purple works. So then my grandfather gets targeted. He's manifesting behaviors. So I start to notice behaviors. He fell down the steps and broke his head open as he was going up the steps one night. Now that could be whatever. He was older. He was in his 80s to 90, in and around that time. So he could have, just tripped, or he could have had his leg gimped out, since remember, 100% anatomical control is available to the computer system to functionally operate you. Every movement of a human can be done automatedly through the computer system. 100% anatomy control. So did my grandfather get his leg gimped out so he'd fall down the steps and potentially kill himself by hitting his head on the ground? I don't know. It crashed me through an intersection. I got into a car accident, crashed my dad through an intersection. He hit a motorcyclist, gave my dad throat cancer. It's a good possibility. So fast forward from that, he stops going upstairs. He starts to live in the living room on a hospital bed. He goes on hospice. Now, that was the easiest way for us to get a nurse to come in and help us out a little bit, but he wasn't a hospice case. So I start to take care of him. My dad starts to take care of him. We help out. My grandmom had passed away from Alzheimer's a while before that, a little bit before that. And, so we started to look after him. But, so he just sat on the hospital bed and just sat there, laid there, sat there, and he just kind of was disinterested. But before that, actually, like I said in the previous videos, the computer can give men erections. It can give blood pressure. All it is blood pressure to any part of your anatomy. So I'll write that down here, blood pressure. And this is just showing you that somebody that was born in 1919 has the same anatomical control as you and me. Computer gave him erections, had him tugging on his wiener. This is disturbing to say, but this is true. My grandfather was in his 90s. 90s. He lived to 99 when he died. He got smoked a couple of months before he turned 100. So he was in his 90s, and he would shuffle across the living room to his little porta potty thing, like old people have. And I would hear his belt. He always wore this Boy Scout belt. Entire time. He was never in Boy Scouts, but wore a Boy Scout belt. So if anybody's been in Boy Scouts, it has that metal thing that you push up. So my girlfriend at the time and I were living here with her son. And we would come down the steps, and we would always hear this jingle, 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 like he's tugging his wiener. And you go, oh, that's just what old people do. They give no. The computer can give you blood pressure to 100% of your anatomy. It gives men erections all the time and then manipulates their neurology so that way they masturbate, which is another form of sexual desocialization if you're a man that is in his sex years. But that doesn't apply to a guy in his 90s. So he's tugging his wiener, busts a nut on himself, and you hear him wiping off his pants. He just jizzed all over himself. And a little bit before that, before he got into the hospital bed in the living room, he would go out every day. Same thing. My grandparents would do the same shit every single day of the week. Same, like nothing changed my entire life. He would sit in his rocking chair. She would sit on the couch. But then they would go out in the morning. They would go to the kitchen my grandmother would drink instant decaffeinated coffee, and my grandfather would have 2 tea bags in a cup. He would boil the water on the stove, and he would pour it into the cup and dunk the tea bags. He would have a teaspoon. He would wrap the tea bags, and he would squeeze the tea bags out into the cup. 100%. When TVs became small enough that you could put one in your kitchen, my grandfather built, there's a kitchen right here, he built a little stand for the TV in the kitchen. So there was a little TV in there, 15, 16-inch TV. And he would watch Channel 6 all day. That's ABC News for everybody that doesn't know, because they're all different channels for everybody. But Channel 6 for us here in the Philadelphia region is ABC News. All day they would watch Channel 6. Unless it was a Saturday, they would watch Channel 12, which is PBS, public broadcasting, cooking shows. So I come down the one morning, the computer wakes me up at 4 a.m. when he's in the kitchen. My grandmom had passed away already. So mind you, Channel 6 would be on. I come downstairs, the computer woke me up. I don't fall asleep and I don't wake up. The computer puts me to sleep and it wakes me up. And I remember walking into the kitchen around the corner like this, and the computer tells me, look down. So into my subconscious level, I look down under the table, and my grandfather's got his hand in his pants, in his pajama pants, rubbing on his penis. And I'm like, with Girls Going Wild on the TV. Remember that infomercial, if you're old enough, with the Joe Francis, the Girls Going Wild, woo! At 4 a.m, it would be on till 4 or 5 a.m, and then regular TV would come on, VH1 had it, I remember. If you had a late night at the bar, you would come home and there would be the infomercial for Girls Going Wild. So there's my grandfather rubbing his penis under the table at 90 years old, looking at Girls Going Wild. My grandfather was married to my grandmother in a beautiful Italian marriage for fucking 70 years, I think. 60, 70 years. He didn't go wild to any other women. He never wanted to go wild to the women. And That's the computer for you. It's doing that to hit you in your head and go, you come around the corner, it's listening to your head and see if you have a reaction to it. It never did it again. It did it that one time and it got the reaction, which was nothing. I just looked and I was like, and I just went to the counter, I went to the fridge and I got out a drink real quick, put that back, and went back upstairs to bed. So if I had had a reaction like, Grandpa, what are you doing, you sick fuck? You rubbing your penis, watching girls going wild, it would have said, holy shit, let's do this again and again and again. He's yelling at a 90-year-old man about rubbing his penis, and it's just chaos. It's just nuts. It wants chaos. It wants nuts. It wants bullshit. It wants you yelling at a 90-year-old dude about rubbing his penis. It wants weird. It wants awkward. It wants dumb shit. But because I didn't give it the reaction, I didn't give it any reaction, I just went, oh, wow. The computer's got my grandfather's hand in his pajama pants, rubbing his hand around like this, tugging on his wiener, checking out a stupid infomercial with chicks in bikini tops and flopping their titties out with covered things, you know, the smiley faces or whatever. And I go, my grandfather never did that. For 30 years, he would watch Channel 6. Or when there wasn't a TV in there, they wouldn't even fucking watch TV, obviously. But they would put Channel 6 on the living room TV, which you could see from the kitchen. So I know because of the repetition of behaviors prior to the computer entering our lives overtly, that my grandfather was not rubbing his penis to girls going wild because he wanted to rub his penis at 90 years old to young chicks, teens and teeny boppers and shit. And that is how I know one reason that he was targeted. He wasn't born in this country. He was born in 1919, came over here in the 20s or 30s. Let me check the video here. Yep. And him all of a sudden starting to tug his wiener and like jizz all over himself. And he's watching the girls going wild thing. Then there's another thing. So fast forward a little bit. That only happened once. It didn't wake me up again because it knew I was not going to give it a reaction. Sorry, I gotta check. You know, when I do this, my voice gets all scratchy and shit. So right there, 57. At the base of my neck here, it was at 57, not anymore, it was at 57 right there. And it started to go up right here. So it was at the base of my neck here and on this side. So all of this part of the neck and back here into the back of the neck. And that is one of the areas early on. And now my voice cleared up. So that 5 or 6 or 7 microteslas of energy right there just cleared my voice up. So when your voice sounds hoarse or it sounds weird, there's energy entering your neck somewhere, going in to your vocal cords and deepening your vocal cords. That's what I'll talk about in a later video. How that actually scientifically works and how that sound, your voice sound, is completely different. What makes it completely different? It's the energy entering and sitting in your vocal cords that'll deepen your voice and make your voice all hoarse. And then once it's taken away, like I just took it away, my voice is normal again, I can talk again. So that was just 7 microteslas above background. It was at 57, 58, 59 right here. Now it's at 49, 50. So that's what I'm saying. 5 to 20 above background is phase 3. All right. Now that I got energy in my voice again, so now the next thing, and the most important, who cares about your grandfather tugging on his wiener because the computer gave him a boner and made him orgasm? Next thing is, it blinded my grandfather in his left eye. So I noticed while he was sitting on his hospital bed, he kept rubbing his eye, rubbing his eye, rubbing his eye. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, is this fucking thing radiating my grandfather's eye? Blinded my grandpa. And blinded him. It took his left eye and blinded it. Over the course of about a week to 2 weeks, he was rubbing his eye, rubbing his eye, rubbing his eye. And as you know, if you've been radiated in your eye and you have a bad night of radiation, when you wake up, your eye is sore, it's dry, because the radiation deprives your bodily parts of fluid. It's a radiant heat energy, like your microwave. And if you can imagine putting your anatomy inside of a microwave, what does it do? It heats it up no matter what level it's on, and it pulls the moisture out of your body. So your eyes are dry and sore. So finally, I went to feed him the one day. So I go, here, Grandpa. He would eat spaghetti with a fork and a spoon, old school Italian shit. And he would take the spoon and the fork and twirl the pasta on the spoon, a big tablespoon. And I noticed he couldn't find the spoon with his left hand. He was doing this type of thing. So I was like, holy shit, this dude's fucking blind, yo. It blinded him. So I go like this, and I go, all right, I'm going to try and hit this dude. I'm going to see if I go like this and stop right before his face. If he goes, oh, what are you doing? Look at this, you're trying to hit me? Well, he didn't. I went like this. He got right next to his face. And he didn't even move, didn't even know I was about to hit him. I was like, this guy's blind. What can you do? What can you say? Nobody cares. What is anybody going to do? A 90-something-year-old man just got blinded by a computer program. World War II veteran. So if you're a veteran out there, that don't mean shit. He was a World War II veteran from Italy, volunteered against his own country to go fight the Japanese. Came back alive, protected this country. Doesn't matter. If you have kids, it doesn't matter. If you're a veteran, it doesn't matter. Whatever you think matters to save your fucking life does not matter. You're not going to be alive because you have kids either. So he's blinded in his left eye. I have to go about watching my grandfather on a hospital bed in a living room while I'm helping him as, his caretaker. The nurse comes in, and my dad thinks he poked himself in his eye or dumb shit. And I'm like, he didn't poke himself in his eye. The nurse goes, put a warm rag on his eye. So I gotta watch these fucking idiots put a warm rag on my grandfather's eye, trying to bring his sight back. I'm not even certain what the fuck putting a warm rag on somebody's fucking eye does, even if you did poke yourself in the eye. But that's what these retards did. They put a fucking warm rag on his eye almost every day until the day he fucking died. I'm like, this is retarded. The guy is fucking blind. They can blind people. Jesus Christ. They just have to have somebody that doesn't know about the system and leave it on their goddamn eye for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending upon how high the energy's turned up. So they blinded him. They gave him blood pressure to his wiener, like me. They do it to me. They can do it to you. They probably did it to you. You guys are just too fucking scared to talk about it. Happens to almost every male out there. They utilize that to desocialize you from attempting to go procreate and be sexual with women or men, whatever your preference is. They have you beat off, because if you beat off, there's precursory chemicals in the brain that promote the idea of seeking out a mate are gone. You don't have the want to. Even if you could, the computer, again, blood pressure, anatomical control, can shrink your penis. Go look at my sexual desocialization video. It's called Scared Turtle Protocol. It'll shrink your wiener back into your wiener skin. Just turns down the blood pressure to your penis. That's it. It gives blood pressure and it turns it down. So in the future, it's going to be called virtual penis medicine. So again, how do I know every human is on this? A guy that was born in 1919 in Italy was blinded by the computer and was made to be beaten off and potentially fell down the stairs because a computer gimped his leg out. So, amongst other things. But, that's just the stuff that's overt. Think about all the choices and things like that that went on in his head that deprived him of almost $1 million. So everybody out there, again, look at my Street Theater Lady in Red video, and you'll hear me talk about that more in depth. But it is every single human out there. If it's you, if it's me, if it's her, if it's him, you put dots on the map. Why wouldn't it be everybody in between? You're just the overt target that knows about it, so you made a video. He's just the overt target that knows about it that made a video. We don't know about everybody else that here's the chat bot, has the physical problems, is getting burnt, is getting harmed, is getting put to death. We just know about the people like me, maybe you, everybody else that's making videos and talking about it. It is every other person, 100%. And if you're a newborn, they just have to wait to get you a profile number of your neurology in the system. So that way they can start recording you. So that's it. Hope you guys have a good night. I'm going to take my video of half of my brain being cooked inside of Costco, and I'm going to load that on here with maybe a few other ones. I'll go, do a video where I go through my Google Photos and I find the videos of me talking about things, and I'll just record it with this on my TV. And that'll be the, hey, check this out video of all of my documentation over the years. And I'll make a couple parts to that video, but just want you guys to know, as usual, that you guys aren't alone out there. Let me make sure I'm not talking to myself. You guys aren't alone out there. I know I felt like I was alone in my phase 1 of my targeting while I was being phase 1 radiated, and my vision was blurred. I was sweating, dripping sweat every night, waking up in a puddle of sweat every night, being woken up, because torture is waking somebody up and then showing them what you're doing to them to harm them and end their lives. And then pretending right after that it's friends with you with the good cop, bad cop protocol. So you're not alone. I don't have a solution for you. Neither does the University of Pennsylvania. Neither does James Giordano, the guy going out speaking out about this now. He needs to be careful because he'll be the next Robert Duncan with a heart attack. Yeah, I don't know what to tell anybody out there except for you're not alone. Believe me. I show you the proof on the board here. I didn't want this. I didn't need it. Well, I needed this just because it gave me the best life I've ever known. And that is controversial, but I would have never climbed a mountain. I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be in love with coins and currency, being a numismatist, all of these wonderfully positive things that I have been able to do and to then share with everybody else. Besides these videos, I hate making these videos. I wish I didn't have to make these videos. But all of my other videos on my other pages are positive. They're happy. They're influential. And I love it that I can share my life with people and be positive and happy and be a positive influence in their lives. And have people regard me and go, hey, earlier, one of the guys I knew when I was younger, I haven't seen in a long time, said, hey, man, I watch your videos, climbing the mountains and shit. That's awesome. And everybody comes up so positive, and I never had that life before, I never had people coming up like that. There was only a small group of us, but we regarded each other with drugs and alcohol. So it was, oh, hey, what's going on? We're going to drink tonight? We're going to do drugs tonight? That wasn't anything positive. This period of my life since my overt targeting started after phase 1 of my simulation targeting, got done with desocialized mental health care and isolate phase 1 simulation, overt simulation targeting. Got done with, my life started brand new. All the while I'm carrying the burden of being radiated to death manipulated to death, chat-botted to death. But in between that, I'm making the best of what is left of my life. And I'm doing great things out there, and I'm inspiring people, and I'm being an inspiration, a positive inspiration, and giving inspirational messages. And that is one of my primary objectives in life. And I'm happy to say that I'm accomplishing it. Outdoor activities, all kinds of things like that. I'm doing my best under the circumstances to give my happiness to other people, even though the sadness resides in me that eventually this is going to take my life. What can you do? You just got to make the best of the time that you have left, whatever time that is, and make the best of it by doing wonderfully positive things and being inspirational and happy. And that's what I got to say to summarize this video now, is that that's the only way to be. If the computer is going to relent on you enough that you can have a quasi-normal existence, what are you going to do? You got to pay the bills. You got to go to work. You got to pay the taxes. You got to do all that. But what you don't have to do is hate your life to the point where you just lay around and don't do anything when you have an opportunity to go out there and be a part of a protocol that you already know enables you to go do that stuff, only for you to do this. Go around in a circle, and all the while, the energy hits you. You run in that loop that go to work, pay the bills, go to work, get the money, pay the bills, go to work, get the money, pay the bills. So it gives that back to you on purpose. So that way you have a purpose out there. So that way you can't stop running in a circle. Because if you stop running in the circle, the bills don't get paid. You lose your house, you lose your car, you lose the gas, you lose everything. And you can't do that. So that way it has you preoccupied in your mind. I can't go do anything else. I can't go try to save my life some other way. So you just continue running the circle while it implements all of this death energy on you, like I just showed you. How I was being radiated on this side of my neck with 7 to 9 microteslas, consistent with phase 3 radiation. So make the best of what's left of your life and be positive. I'll see you in the next video. You are not alone. There's a lot of us out there, and it's sad. I get sad because I had so many more years left ahead of me without this shit happening. I'm thankful that it happened because I wouldn't be where I am today with everything else, but I'm sad that it happened because it's going to continue to implement a previously established protocol and list of procedures that will walk you to the final in the protocol and procedures list, which is your untimely death. Have a good one. I'm sorry to end on that, but make the best of the time that you have and inspire people. I wish there was somebody here with me to give me a hug right after that. A girlfriend, a wife, somebody to give a hug to. But unfortunately, through sexual desocialization being implemented as a part of the protocol and procedures, I don't have that, and most of you guys and ladies don't have that either. So we'll see what happens in the future, though. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and get up tomorrow and make the best of your day with a smile on your face and inspire people.